So I thought I would talk a little bit more about from the time frame I committed to my microdiscectomy to actual surgery date. So I made the decision, got the date figured out, tried to get the time figured out. If anybody who's had surgery knows that your surgical time's kind of something you find out the day before. Your surgeon requests a time and they try to get you as best they can around that time. But usually, I think it's, what is it, elderly people, more complex cases and babies, they always have priority, right? So then there's folks like me who are going in for a microdiscectomy. We'd originally requested 7 a.m., but we got 8:45 and I was cool with that. Completely cool with that, I came home with a lot of paperwork to read through. I did have to complete not a lengthy, but a pretty involved medical questionnaire about my personal medical history, my family's medical history, any challenges with anesthesia, blood clots, anything like that, anything that you would, take to mind, take to heart ahead of surgery. I asked my team millions of questions, and I'm very thankful that they were all super patient with me because as a pretty active person, around my neighborhood, with my friends, at the gym, projects at home, all those kinds of things, it really weighed on me what the longer term impact of this surgery would be. And I told them I absolutely needed them to be very clear with me about my projected outcomes. What did that look like for somebody like me? So that when I woke up from surgery, I wouldn't be surprised if they said no more of this, no more of that, no more of that, and then feel like I made a bad decision for myself. So we did talk about that, and they reassured me that, pending no complications, that within 4 to 6 months of my surgery and my recovery, I should be well on my way to the things that I love to do. So to get back to hiking, to get back to biking, to get back to projects, to get back to running if I wanted to. Now my favorite thing, but I said, I'm 40, I wanted to run a 5K in year 40. My nurse practitioner did tell me that that I would get back to running, but I would not be running this summer. And I'm okay with that. I accept that it's fair. That's completely fine. So, went through all my paperwork. Again, super grateful that I work for a company that has some really great benefits. So I was able to apply for medical leave. Now, my surgeon did specifically ask me for 2 weeks. He wanted me 2 weeks out of work, completely focused on my recovery only. He did say that, given the environment, he understands that a lot of people have the flexibility to work from home, but he did not want me, roped up into phone calls and emails and pushing myself to try to work, part-time or reduced hours when I really, really would need to be focused on me and healing. And, I'm a workhorse. It's been 40 years of working really hard, in my lifetime. And, but I did take that to heart and I did take that to consideration and I did talk to my team about it and I did agree to that. So I spoke to HR, spoke to my boss. I filed my, 2-week medical leave and got that all squared away. I worked with my surgical team to make sure my paperwork was filled out and got that all underway well within the time frame that I needed to. So I would encourage anybody to follow your surgeon's restrictions. So in my case, because I will, once I'm healed, will be returning to a work from home process. That initial recovery for me is only that 2-ish weeks. It's 2 weeks plus 2 days because I can't be released back to work until I can have that follow-up appointment with my surgical team. If I was still commuting to and from work, it would have looked more like 6 weeks because there's there's more recovery that needs to happen before you're in a traveling capacity, walking further than I normally would, after this surgical procedure, that kind of thing. And then if I was more labor intensive, if I was somebody lifting boxes, throwing things around, doing construction, that kind of thing, I mean, this is the kind of surgery that you're looking at a 3 to 4 month out of work recovery process, because there's some PT and rehab that is going to happen at some point, and that needs to happen before you can put your body back through that. So with that said, health questionnaires got done, full medical records got discussed, what medication am I on. I'm lucky to be very limited in the medication department. It was naproxen. I was trying to use naproxen to manage the inflammation that I was feeling that was flaring up that sciatic nerve. I had a regimen of things, and if you've had this kind of back pain for a while, none of this will surprise you. Glucosamine, turmeric, CBD. I had applied for my medical card here in Illinois, so I did have some 2-to-1 CBD THC gummies that I took on nights that I was just incapable of getting comfortable. Those were helpful in my case. I can't speak for everybody, but it did help me. But that's not the kind of thing you can take during your workday. I can't float through work like that. I don't suggest anybody else try it either. But those things needed to stop. So when we had that conversation about 2 weeks ahead of surgery, I was advised, I think it was 7 to 10 days, all of that needed to stop. No more vitamins, supplements, no naproxen. The gummies were allowed if I needed them. I was feel free to take those, but there was a limit. I think it was 8 o'clock, something like that, the night before surgery. Couldn't take any of that after that point, which is completely fine. I ain't messing with my anesthesiologist's ability to properly sedate me and keep me there. So I will say that. I did have to pick up Hibiclens, which is something that is available basically at any drugstore. You can get it over the counter. You can have it prescribed to you if you need to, but you can't find it in the first aid aisle. It is a sterilizing cleanser, which 5 days ahead of surgery, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I had to start cleansing basically from the neck down. So everything on my back, my body, just to make sure that I would, as sterile as your skin can be, to prevent any type of infection from moving from your skin into your body, kind of thing. So that starts, make sure, if your surgeon tells you to do that too, make sure you do it. Make it part of your process, in the morning when you shower, at night when you shower, whatever it is that you're doing, that gets on your body. Mine had to stay on, I think it was for 3 minutes before you could wash it off. So make note of that. There were a couple other things that I needed to pick up that were on my to-do list ahead of surgery. I needed to get some paper tape, some gauze, and some Tegaderm. Tegaderm is kind of like a clear adhesive film that you can put over your incision site to protect it, so that when you are cleared to shower, you are not getting that incision site wet or getting soapy, anything like that. That was for the first 7 days. Can't do that. So that is good information to know. Buy these things ahead of time so that you have them in your house already. My surgical team also did let me know that they would be sending me all of my post-surgical medication to my pharmacy ahead of time. Out here, they were great. That got filled for me. I was able to pick it up. It was a day or two before. Had it in the house, made sure it was on hand, had it labeled for my sister who was going to be staying with me, because this is a procedure, general sedation, IV, the whole 9 yards. You are going to be out. You cannot drive yourself. Somebody's going to have to drive you, and somebody is going to have to stay with you for the first 24 hours just to kind of keep an eye on you. In a bigger term, big picture, look at that. I was advised that I should have somebody stay with me for probably 2 weeks. I'm a little more ferociously independent on stuff like this. And knock on wood, I've had some really good surgical experiences in my life, but my sister was fabulous enough to volunteer. I'm a single woman, so she was happy to volunteer to drive me to and from my surgical procedure, and she did get herself set up here in my house. We got her set up for a work from home situation so that she could work from home, from my home, but still be here to make sure I was comfortable, taking my medication on time if I was having any challenges, that I had the support here with me that I would need. I would also say to make sure that you do a little grocery shopping ahead of time. Have drinks on hand, like your favorite beverages, like get a couple of Gatorades or LaCroix or a soda, like whatever it is that's going to make you feel home and happy and good. Just have a little bit of that around. If it's a little bit of ice cream or whatever, you're going to feel crummy for a couple of days. It's okay to have stuff that makes you feel good around. So I did that. And then my mom and both my dad, divorced, but made sure to stop by with some prep stuff for me. So it was like a pan of lasagna that I just needed to reheat, or barbecue chicken that I could literally just chop up and put in a wrap and, microwave it for a couple minutes. Like food that was really easy, that I didn't have to start from scratch to fight with to get me fed. So these are things to just kind of tuck in there, a little prepared food. Make sure you got your meds with you. Get yourself in a good place, I won't lie, there was plenty of anxiety ahead of this procedure. That is normal. I talked through it a lot. I definitely talked to friends about it. I talked to family about it. I knew it was the right decision. It was the right decision for me. It was a good decision to make, at 40. I'm not getting any younger. It's not going to be any easier for me to, heal up from something like this in a year or 2 or 5. And I definitely didn't want it to compound. I didn't want a herniated disc to start snowballing into a bunch of things. And then before I know it, instead of just a microdiscectomy, I'm getting fusion or beyond that. You know what I mean? So this was something that I wanted to address now, so that I had plenty of time to get healed up and get on my way to recovery. So that kind of takes me to that point. I will say, if you are somebody that has a lot of surgical anxiety, definitely talk to your doctor about it. They hear this stuff all the time. So, they may be willing to say, like, hey, we're going to send you a prescription for Valium because there's no reason you should be feeling out of your mind on tears, second guessing your decision to have surgery, panicking, anything like that. We all want good outcomes, and I feel like you have to be in the right mind space for those best outcomes. Receptive to the fact that you are going to have surgery, receptive to the fact that it's a journey and it's a process and it's healing, and there might be hard moments, but this is for the better, longer term good, right? So talk to somebody, talk to friends, talk to family, talk to a therapist if you have one, talk to your surgical team. They walk people through this procedure all the time. It's okay to share this with them, because I think the educated response and the reassurance you get from somebody who does this all the time is very helpful. And the mantra I told myself is, I am strong and my team is smart. And I really needed to just kind of latch on to that. I'm strong and I've made it through so many things, and my team is smart. They went to school for this. They do it all the time. They are leaders in their field. Do not doubt them. You are in great hands, and you are making the best decision for yourself. So I will pause here, and then we will talk about my day of surgery and recovery from these points on. All right? Thanks, guys. I hope this is helpful.